What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for playpicks.com and thelines.com. Going to talk to you about this Sunday night football game between the Steelers and the Chargers. Before we get started, guys, please hit the subscribe button on this page. Please like the video. Please let us know in the comments how you plan on playing this game, or if you're going to take a pass for whatever reason, just let us know. Maybe some player props you're interested, but we're certainly want to keep the conversation going with all of you. Of course, everything here is free. Everything at PlayPicks is free. Everything at the Lines is free. So just want to get a good dialogue going as to how this goes. This isn't necessarily like, hey, definitely go make this pick. Want to give you the best information humanly possible, and hopefully that guides you into the direction of the way you were leaning anyway, or maybe that does actually give you some information you need to feel confident in the bet that you want to make. So again, please subscribe to the page. Please like the vid for everything that we got going on here. Of course, you can get the full written breakdown here at PlayPicks as always, or you can head over to thelines.com, click on the little NFL thing up here and hit Sunday Night Football, and you can get a full preview over here as well. So let's talk about, what we got going on here with this one. As far as the betting lines go over here to DraftKings and take a look what they have. Sitting at 6 right now. So we've seen this thing kind of be on the move over here at FanDuel, sitting at 6.5. One of the things you can do at DraftKings, if you don't know, you can click the stats button right here and go to betting trends. And whenever you do that, just scroll down a little bit here, and you can actually see how the spread and total has actually moved here. You can see 6 got down to 6.5, 6 went all the way to 5, and then now back down to 6 again. So you can see how this thing has kind of been on the move over here. You can see the total here, 41.5, and then boom, 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 all the way down to 40.5, and then back up to 42.5, where we sit right now on this thing. So again, you just go to DraftKings, you click the little stats button, and you can take a look at this stuff there. But as we sit, 6-point favorites at home are the Chargers, 42.5, 265 on the money line, 225 on the comeback for the Steelers. If you're looking at the first half, 3.5 on the Steelers, 20.5 total for this thing here. As far as the weather goes in this thing, guys, it's Los Angeles, right? So, I mean, if it's LA, so it's going to be low 70s, high 60s, something like that. No wind, no rain, maybe a very slight breeze or something like that, but nothing to worry about when it comes to the weather. It's Los Angeles. As far as the Steelers, they are 1-4 on the season, 0-2 on the road on their third different quarterback. Of course, starting game for them so far this season. Chargers sit at 2-3 overall, 1-2 at home. Phillip Rivers making his 214th consecutive start. Just been a complete Iron Man. They played one of the worst games they have played in a long time last week, this Chargers team, and a loss to the Broncos. They did get Melvin Gordon back in that game. Didn't use him an absolute ton. Played less than half the snaps actually for them in that game. Only 38 yards from scrimmage. Only averaged 2.6 yards per carry. I'll flip back over here to PlayPicks if you guys want to read along here. See how this thing looks like it's getting broken down by Eston. So injuries on the Steelers side, Mason Rudolph is out. As I mentioned, Devlin Hodges will be under center. Hodges, all-time leading passing yards in the FCS. Obviously not the FBS, but in the FCS, he's actually the all-time leader in passing yards. I had to do some research because I didn't know much about the old Devlin Hodges here. Jalen Samuels out for the Steelers. James Washington out for the Steelers as well. On the Charger side, Hunter Henry is actually likely to be back, according to Adam Schefter. So you get back another playmaker there for this Chargers team. But center Mike Pouncey placed on IR. We all know how incredibly important centers are for not only just the continuity with the quarterback, but also pass coverages and doing all of the assignments and stuff like that. Centers are very, very important. Justin Jackson, running back, is out, but Melvin Gordon's back, so not a big deal there. Click back over to the lines if you want to check this out. Of course, we have this cool little handy dandy odds thing as well. So you can see the odds feeds. You can actually toggle back and forth between New Jersey and Pennsylvania, spread, money line, total, all of that over there. So be sure and take advantage of that. On the Steelers offense here, averaging 19.8 yards per game, 280.6 yards per game. That is pathetic. 5.2 yards per play. They have passed on 64.8% of plays. Now, they have been trailing in a lot of these games, so very, very high pass percentage. Third graded pass blocking unit, though, according to Pro Football Focus. 14th best run blocking unit according to Pro Football Focus as well. They've converted just under a third, 32.7% of their third downs. Chargers offense averaging 20.6 points per game, 372.2 yards per game, 5.8 yards per play. They have passed on 64% of their downs so far this year as well. Here's where it gets pretty interesting. 23rd ranked graded pass blocking unit, according to Pro Football Focus. 21st graded run blocking unit, according to Pro Football Focus. They have converted on 46% of their third downs. If we take a look at how the pace might play out in this game, and I'll scroll a little bit if you want to continue to read here along. Chargers 26th in situation neutral pace in this game. Steelers are 15th. Chargers 29th as far as seconds per play. They are running a play every 29.72 seconds. Pittsburgh is actually 16th in that category. Chargers 14th in plays per game. Steelers actually dead last in plays per game. On the defensive side of the ball, Steelers allowing 22.8 points per game, 6th rated defense overall, according to Pro Football Focus. And I think this is something that goes a little underrated here for the Steelers team, maybe because we've just seen a lot of talk, obviously, with the offense. You know, Le'Veon Bell leaves town, Antonio Brown leaves town, then Ben Roethlisberger goes down. I mean, so many things to talk about on the offensive side of the ball that maybe this defense kind of gets looked over. But number 6th rated defense, according to Pro Football Focus. Number 2nd graded pass rush, according to Pro Football Focus. But then you go, okay, well, maybe that's subjective. Well, let's go DVOA. Number 7th ranked defense, DVOA overall. 7th ranked pass defense, DVOA. 15th ranked rush defense, DVOA. So you can see this defense is legit, no joke. 2nd in adjusted sack rate as well, this defense. 3rd most sacks so far in the league on this short season. Chargers offensive line, and where this is kind of a mismatch here, Chargers offensive line, one, as we mentioned, are going to be down their center and have given up the most quarterback hits so far this season. This Chargers defense has, the Steelers defense has created 12 turnovers already on the season. Chargers defense, I'll flip back over here to back over to play picks. So Chargers defense averaging 18.8, allowing 18.8 points per game. They are the 25th rated defense according to Pro Football Focus. They do have the 12th rated pass rush as well, that being said. So they are getting at the quarterback a little bit according to Pro Football Focus. But rush defense rated 29th according to Pro Football Focus. On the DVOA side, of course, where there's a little math involved and all that. It's not just, people watching the tape and stuff. 28th ranked defense DVOA overall for the Chargers, 25th in rush and pass defense DVOA. So you can see this defense has not played up to par. But again, they've been just injury riddled. This whole Chargers team has just been bitten by the injury bug, can't seem to get over it. So just very unfortunate for this team, but you can see that it's playing out on the field as well here for this team. So let's make a case for the under here. So we'll go back over here and we'll take a look. So it's sitting at 42.5, and it's sitting at 42.5 at both places. So at DraftKings and FanDuel at 42.5. So it doesn't really matter where you want to bet it. So let's go ahead and come over here and say we're going to make a case for the under here. One of the reasons you could do that and feel pretty good about it would just be, hey man, it's Devlin Hodges. They're on their 3rd starting quarterback of the season. This guy is not wanted to be under center for this team, but he is. He is going to be making, a start here where his first start in the NFL in his career. And also, can this offense function? He's been in the offense a whole week now. So, does he really have any sort of connection with any receivers? Are they going to be able to do anything? Is he going to, choke? He is on the road, and now there's not a big home field advantage over there in LA, of course, but still, there's a lot of things going on to making your first start in the NFL. So one of the things to be the under would just be the Steelers just don't get on the board, right? The Steelers just don't do anything here because Devlin Hodges is under center. And the other part of that could be if Steelers can't do anything, is there really any incentive for the Chargers to kind of keep their foot on the gas here? That if they could get by with, getting Melvin Gordon back into play, which they said they want to get him more touches, more snaps this week as well. They still have Eckler, so it's not like there's any concern over getting any usage for these backs because they have 2 really, really good NFL starting quality level running backs for this team here. So maybe the Chargers kind of sit back and chill a little bit as well. And also, as we mentioned, they do play slow. I mean, they're one of the slower placed teams in the NFL. So, I mean, maybe they get a little bit of a lead here and just decide we're going to run. They keep using all of that play clock like they've been doing all season long. Could certainly get us to the under in this thing. Now, if we're looking at the over here, we talked about Melvin Gordon coming back. Now maybe he's actually got a little bit of a flow in this offense. As you remember, Melvin Gordon over the last couple of years has been one of the most dynamic backs in all of the NFL. I mean, he's a guy that's actually been a huge playmaker for this team. So maybe he's just needed a few weeks to kind of get back in the system here. Of course, Phillip Rivers has been in the system now for over 200 games straight. So you know that he's going to be good to go here. And maybe Melvin Gordon, they actually fit him in and they do some wrinkles with Austin Eckler. They're getting Hunter Henry back, which is also a red zone threat for them. So they're getting healthier as well at least on the offensive side of the ball, not necessarily on the defensive side of the ball, from playmaking standpoint anyway, on the offensive side of the ball. And then maybe also this offensive line just holds up better than we think here. I mean, I was telling you about how good this Steelers defense has played and how good that pass rush is and how good they've been in all these adjusted line rates and sack rates and all the things like that. And, maybe this offensive line just holds up better than I think against the Steelers team. And if that's the case, then certainly that could get us to the over as well, because the Chargers do have playmakers. They do have Phillip Rivers. They do have guys out wide. Of course, Keenan Allen, one of the best receivers in the league as well. Mike Williams out there. So it's not like this is a team that's devoid of talent. It's just going up against a good defense here. So maybe they get that thing going as well. And then the other case for the over is, hey, Devlin Hodges, like I mentioned, I mean, the guy did ball out in college. Now that was Division II or FCS, as we mentioned, but the guy did ball out in college. And when he came in last week, if you watched that, he looked pretty confident and looked like he wasn't afraid to kind of push the ball down the field as well. And another thing that you can look at from an over standpoint here is you do have James Conner, who is a very good, upper, top 12 running back, top 10, top 12 running back in this league against a defense that has been giving it up on the ground a lot here for the Chargers. So maybe it takes a little bit of pressure off of Devlin Hodges as well. They're able to move the ball. And then when he does have to throw, it's not like it feels like the weight isn't all on his shoulders here. So case for the over and under. That being said, I don't have a strong lean one way or the other. I was leaning actually more towards the over when this thing had dipped all the way down to 40. And I thought maybe it was just going to keep going. Once Devlin Hodges got announced as quarterback, I thought maybe people just have no confidence whatsoever in the Steelers team. And if this thing got to 39.5-ish or something like that, 30, 39, 39.5, I was going to go ahead and hit the over here. I think this Chargers will put points on the board. And I think the Steelers are going to have some success as well with this team now that it's crept back up to this 42.5 range, which I think is about right for this thing. I'm not going to... It's not a real play for me right now. That said, if this thing moves much more higher, again, it's an island game on Sunday. So sometimes we see these totals move because people come in and they're chasing. It's their get right game or whatever. So, if this thing moves a couple points higher between now and the time this thing kicks off, you can see me certainly play the under here. And if for whatever reason, maybe some big money comes in on this thing and they have to move this thing back down, if this thing gets in that 40-ish range, I'll look to play the over here. I mean, I think that there can be, a typical scored game here, in that 41, 42, 43-ish type range. I think this can be one of those games. I mean, yeah, sure it's Devlin Hodges, but they still have playmakers. They still have Juju. They still have James Conner. They still have a lot of guys that can move this ball here. And of course the Chargers do as well. As far as player props go here, the one that I was mainly looking at, and I don't have a strong lean on a lot of these player props this week, but one of the ones here is, do you think Devlin Hodges is going to be a complete turd, or do you think he's going to be able to play here? Because look, 224 is very low. I actually had him projected more in kind of like the 240-ish range, 240, 241. So I do think there's actually an edge in the over here, according to my projections. I'm not down on this yet, but it's certainly, if I can find this over here in Vegas, certainly something I'm going to look at. And we'll just go over here at FanDuel and see if maybe it's a little bit better over here at all. So they're sitting 228, they're sitting 224. So if you want the over, you take it at DraftKings. If you want the under, you take it over here at FanDuel. But I actually think Devlin Hodges can move the ball a little bit here. I actually think he's going to have a little bit of success. And I mean, 225 obviously it's a pretty low number in today's NFL. And a guy that was a big passer in college. So my projections had him closer to 241 and a half. So probably looking to take the over there. And again, if you think that maybe there's a scenario that plays out in your head where you feel like they're just going to try to take the ball out of his hands and give the ball and feed it to James Conner. I mean, look, 65 is obviously a pretty low number here for James Conner, especially if you feel like they're going to try to make him the focal point of this offense and try to keep it out of the hands of Devlin here. So look, of Devlin Hodges. So look, you're 65.5 here on DraftKings. You're 64.5 over here on FanDuel. So technically, I guess if you wanted to come over here, paying a couple cents more juice or something like that. But certainly something to look at here. I think I'm going to play the over on James Conner as well. Hasn't made my card quite yet, but certainly looking to maybe get that one down on here as well. We've seen this run defense for the Chargers be exposed a couple of different times already this year. And, look, they're going to focus on James Conner, then it's something that I'll go ahead and take a look at. As far as the side goes, full transparency, this thing reached 7 at one of the books that I play at out here in Vegas. So I think the number 7 for the Steelers is actually a pretty good number here. Look, no home field advantage for this Chargers team to speak of at all. There are likely to be more Steelers fans in the stands, actually, to be perfectly honest with you, than there will be Chargers fans here. This Chargers team, as we mentioned, is just completely beat up on the defensive side of the ball, and then losing your center on the offensive side of the ball, I think, is way more important than a lot of people give it credit for. This team, this defense for the Steelers team is actually really, really good here. And so whenever you look at kind of like how this is going to go, it should make life difficult for Phillip Rivers and kind of a patchwork offensive line that they've got going on here. You got Cam Hayward on defense. You got TJ Watt for the Steelers team. Should be able to get after the quarterback and make life kind of miserable for Phillip Rivers in this thing. I mean, they are ranked 8th overall in quarterback pressures so far this year against an offensive line that's 5th worst in pass blocking. So I actually think that they're able to keep this game pretty close here. I don't care if it is Devlin Hodges under center for the Steelers. I love this way, way more at 7 than I do at 6. And of course, we like 6.5 as we look over here on FanDuel. Of course, we like 6.5 much better than we like 6. I can't say for sure. It seems to me like maybe this thing could kind of pop back to 7 again before this all gets said and done here, before kickoff. People come in late. The public comes in late. They like to play home favorites. It's a brand name in Phillip Rivers as opposed to Devlin Hodges under center here. So would not surprise me to see this number tick a little bit. So if you want to play the Chargers, I would say go ahead and play them now, especially at 6 here at DraftKings. If you want to play the Steelers, I wouldn't mind holding out a little bit. I mean, I don't think it ever gets worse than 6. And if anything, it just gets better at DraftKings to 6.5, maybe 7, and same thing over at FanDuel. I don't think it gets worse than 6. And so if anything, it can only get better for you there. So that's kind of how I'm going to play this again. I did already take the Steelers at 7. It's already on my contest picks for Circa. So I put in that as well. That they gave that number at 7. And I think Devlin Hodges is going to surprise some people here and not play as terribly as people think and keep this thing within a touchdown. Touchdown is a lot here. And I know you're saying, oh, it's on the road. It is on the road, but it's not really like this big hostile environment at all there in LA. We know that for sure. So I'm going to back the old Devlin Hodges here at +7. So let's see if you can hold out and get that number somewhere. And of course, keep an eye on that total as well. Guys, really appreciate you watching. Of course, you can head over here to the lines, go to lines.com. You can see up here, NFL, Sunday Night Football. You can get a full breakdown over here. You got our cool little odds feed as well that we really, really like that we've got going on. PlayPicks has a full written article here if you want to read the breakdown from Eston McLaren. And of course, you can go to playpicks.com/bonus as you see up here in the corner up here. And this is just basically all of the very best DFS and sportsbook offers that you can find on the internet. So if you're gonna play, might as well take advantage of the free money. I would if I were you. Please subscribe to the page. Please like the video. And please let us know how you are playing this game in the comments below, guys. Very interested to see how this is looking. A weird game to handicap here with a third string quarterback and a beat up Chargers team. So hopefully it goes whichever way you decide to go on this thing. Appreciate you watching. We'll be back for Monday Night Football tomorrow.